If you walk up on a random person on the street and ask them what is metamorphosis, they would probably answer by saying that metamorphosis is a some sort of evolution or transformation. Some would probably say that it is the way how caterpillar grows into a butterfly. Those are not the formal definition for metamorphosis, but what I'm trying to say is that almost everyone has a notion on what metamorphosis is. But if you walk up on another person on the street and ask them what are the types of metamorphosis, we can assume that not a lot would be able to answer this question unless they have taken some entomology classes. And that is the topic of our discussion today. We will discuss the four basic types of metamorphosis in insects. Now, what is the formal definition of metamorphosis? Cambridge Dictionary defined the word metamorphosis as the process by which the young form of insects develops into adult form. It could be a profound change in the form of an organism. But before we proceed, here are some of the most important terms that are commonly used when discussing metamorphosis. There are four basic types of metamorphosis in insects: the ametabola, orometabola, hemimetabola, and holometabola. Insects that undergoes an ametabolous or direct development has three stages: the egg, the young, and the adult stage. This type of metamorphosis is seen in the apertogites or the apertogitan insects. The insect undergoes little or no structural changes. The young are very similar to their adult apart from their size and sexual maturity. The young's reproductive system is underdeveloped, and after several molts, the young become adults. In the parametabolous development or gradual metamorphosis, the insect has three stages: the egg, the nymph, and the adult stage. The nymphs and the adults share the same habitat, which is terrestrial, and eat the similar food. The wings and the reproductive organs are underdeveloped, and the relative proportion of the body differs. The wings grow externally and they become larger after each molt, and the size gradually increases as well. This is called gradual metamorphosis because they undergo a slow and steady change in each molt. Examples are grasshoppers and cockroaches. In the hemimetabolous development or incomplete metamorphosis, the different stages of their life resembles the parametabolous development, but here in hemimetabola, the nymphs are called naiads. They are aquatic and they respire by external gills, although the adults are terrestrial. When the naiads are ready to become an adult, they come out of the water as an adult wing insects. No more molting takes place after the wings have formed except for the mayflies, where the wing for mayflies come out of the water and rest on a tree to go through another molting to become an adult. Examples are mayflies, dragonflies, and damselflies. In the holometabolous development or the complete metamorphosis, the insects undergoes four stages: the egg, the larval, the pupal, and the adult stage. In the butterflies and moths, the larva is called a caterpillar that has a distinct head with strong mandibles and three pairs of jointed thoracic legs. The pupa, which is the third stage in the life of a holometabolous insects, often remains within a protective covering which is called a cocoon. During the pupal stage, the larval tissues disintegrate and the adult organs are formed. Examples are butterflies and moths. The egg stage is where the life of a butterfly begins. The group members were not able to observe the egg stage, but to get an idea of what it looks like, this is a photo of a butterfly egg taken from the internet. The eggs are usually placed on plants. The next is the larval stage, which begins when the egg hatches. The larva feeds on its host plant. They also undergo a successive molting until it matures enough and it will soon begin to pupate. This is what a larvae would look like when it begins to pupate. The pupal stage is often referred to as the resting stage. The pupa does not feed during this stage and it also does not move. After the metamorphosis in the pupal stage is done, the butterfly emerges in its resting or pupal stage. The butterfly can fly and usually search for a mate, which will lay eggs again and the cycle repeats. Each group member in their own home tried to observe how insects grow, and I found this whole laboratory exercise quite amusing as it made me appreciate nature more than how I already do. And I am not saying that this was my first time hearing about how insects grow, but there was something different when you are actually up close and focused observing their growth. In this laboratory, the group was tasked to observe how insects grow and to note their characteristics at the particular stages of their life. And like I have said, I thought that this laboratory exercise helped me in getting a deeper understanding on what metamorphosis is. I mean, I have always known that there are a wide range of activities that are happening during metamorphosis, but what I've learned in this task is far more exhilarating than what I had expected. And I also got to learn the insects' characteristics during their particular stages in their life, which is what I think a very valuable knowledge for an agriculture student.
Result and discussion. In this laboratory exercise number 3, which is insect metamorphosis, we are able to study the growth stage and development of butterfly. Nymph is a lack of fully developed wings, while adult is a fully developed. The main difference between complete metamorphosis and incomplete metamorphosis is complete metamorphosis consists of very active, ravenously eating larva and an inactive pupa, where incomplete metamorphosis consists of nymph, which resembles a miniature adult. There are 4 stages in metamorphosis of butterfly or moth, which is egg, larva, pupa, and adult. Moths are important pollinator. Their hairy bodies make moth great pollinator. They pick up pollen from any flower they land on. My conclusion. Therefore, I conclude that in this laboratory number 3, I am able to understand the metamorphosis cycle of a butterfly. Metamorphosis is a very important because it is the process by which insects develop physical changes. All butterflies go through to 4 stages of life: the egg, larva, pupa, and adult. Ways to tell the difference between egg, larva, pupa, and adult are size when they continue to develop.
In this laboratory exercise number 3 entitled Insect Metamorphosis, we are able to study the development and growing stage of the butterfly. To present the result, discussion, and conclusion, I am able to answer the given question in the exercise. The difference between the nymph and adult. When we say nymph, it is not fully developed wings, or the immature form of insect, while adult is fully developed. Where there is a main difference between complete and incomplete metamorphosis. When we say complete metamorphosis, it consists of a very active, ravenously eating larva and an inactive pupa, whereas incomplete metamorphosis consists of a nymph which resembles a miniature adult. There are 4 stages in the metamorphosis of butterfly and moth. These are the egg, larva, pupa, and adult. When we say egg, these are laid on plants by the adult female butterfly. Butterfly eggs can be very small. Next is the larva. This is also called a caterpillar if the insect is a butterfly or a moth. Caterpillars grow 100 times their size during this stage, but it will grow up to 2 inches long in several weeks. Next one is pupa. When the caterpillar is full grown and stop eating, it becomes a pupa. And lastly, the adult stage. Most adult butterflies live only 1 or 2 weeks, but some species hibernate during the winter and may live several months. In my conclusion, therefore, I conclude that in this laboratory exercise number 3, I've learned and understand the metamorphosis cycle of the butterfly. The butterfly and moth develop through a process called metamorphosis. This is a Greek word that means transformation or change in shape. Metamorphosis is very important because it is the process to develop the physical changes of the insect. Just like as human, before we get to this situation, we have gone through a lot. Everything changes.
The lab exercise was done by a species of citrus butterfly, though we don't have the full metamorphosis of it. But some of its cycle was being recorded as the pictures above shows. The difference start when it was egg then until become adult. On the other hand, the group found out on a study that the nymph and adults can be harmful to the plants by sucking the leaves of plants, which leads to wilting. Hence, the difference between the physical appearance of nymph and adult is the size, which is the nymph is smaller while the adult is bigger, but they have the same markings. Difference between gradual and incomplete metamorphosis. In gradual, the nymphal stages resemble the adult except that they do not have wings, and the nymphs may be colored differently than the adults. Nymphs and adults usually occupy similar habitats and have similar hosts. Gradual metamorphosis is when the egg changes to the nymph, then becomes an adult. In incomplete metamorphosis, insect hatches from an egg and then goes through the several nymphal stages. Each nymphal stage looks like a small version of the adult but getting slightly bigger with age. At the final nymphal stage, the insect then molts into the adult form. Various stages of development in moth. Female moths lay eggs, each hatching into a caterpillar or larva, which is the eating and growing stage of life cycle. Caterpillars eat various types of plant material, mostly leaves but also flowers, fruits, stems, and roots. Some feed by tunneling within leaves or stems, even inside tree trunks. A caterpillar grows in stages called instars, each time splitting and shedding the old skin to allow its body to expand. Reaching full size may take a few weeks to a few years, depending on the species. The caterpillar then becomes a pupa with a tough outer skin inside which its body is reorganized into a moth. Many caterpillars burrow into the soil to pupate, but others fasten themselves to plant stems with silk. Some spin a silk cocoon and pupate inside it. Time spent in the pupa stage varies with the species, from weeks to years. When the moth emerges, its wings are crumpled and need to expand and dry before it can fly. The months in which each stage of the cycle occurs differ with the species. The winter may be spent as an egg, caterpillar, pupa, or adult, either in hibernation or in some cases active. A few species fly and reproduce in the winter. In many species, the adult moth only lives a short time, days or weeks, but others live for months. Although they don't grow, many moths need to feed on nectar for energy. They use a long hollow proboscis to suck nectar from flowers, some hovering to do so. Some don't feed at all and may have no mouth parts. The adult moth is the stage of the life cycle for reproduction, so males and females need to find each other and mate. In many species, the female produces a chemical scent called a pheromone, which the male detects with its antennae, often feathered to be more sensitive. In conclusion, the observation of the insect's metamorphosis is only to show that not all insects are the same metamorphosis. For example, of this group sample is the explaining how the citrus butterfly undergo its cycle, that which its life cycle is holometabulous metamorphosis, meaning they have 4 stages in their life cycle, while the others has no 4 stage but only 3 stages.